Hi, good afternoon. My name is Crystal Walsh. I'm the Natural Resource Manager for the base, and I appreciate all of you guys coming here for a few minutes this afternoon to talk about bears. So we're going to spend a few minutes just talking about the bears on Hurlburt. We're going to start with the basics, and the first thing, just to talk about attractants, why the bears are here. You know, Hurlburt Field is situated just to the south of thousands of acres of riverine swamp. So we have, you know, a lot of black bears coming down from their natural habitat, and they smell a lot of good food that attracts them to the base housing and to our base. We have human food sources, not only in the garbage that is in the garbage cans and the dumpsters, but we also have things like food that's on our barbecue grills, things like bird feeders that are set out all the time. And so those kinds of things over a period of time have habituated our bears to just, you know, being in housing. They're very familiar with those food sources. So bear activity on base has increased over time from the time frame of July to October. More now so it's throughout the year. And for those of you who've been on Hurlburt for the past few years, you probably haven't seen a real lull over a long period of time. So in past years, you know, we had some quiet time when the bears kind of den. They don't really hibernate, but they do den in the winter time. They settle down. They're not actively searching for food. But here in the last couple years, we have seen you know, quite an increase in the activity of bears, and those mama bears are actually teaching their young to forage for their food in the garbage can. So they're teaching them how to, you know, hunt for food in housing. The black bear in Florida is a threatened species, so we cannot hunt the bear, we can't shoot the bear, and it is punishable by law. It is a third-degree felony. So it is a protected species, and we have to make sure that we understand that and that we educate our residents to that fact. Main base housing is, you know, one of the primary active spots on the base. We don't have quite as much activity on Sound Side as we do on main base. So our first attempt to try to secure a lot of the garbage in main base housing was to retrofit our garbage cans with these latches. Now we did that for a couple of years, and the latches were breaking. The process by which the refuse containers were being picked up by the garbage cans would break the lids and break the latches. So it was a constant, you know, improvement process, a lot of expense. So we finally were able to fund a big project last year, and we got about 360 cans that have automatic latches. So when you close the lid, they're, you know, very tough cans. They're steel lined. They're about the same weight and everything as the other cans. Not that you want a lot of education on bear-proof garbage cans, but they do work, and if we can just get everybody to put their garbage in the garbage cans, they will keep the bears out. But that is the problem that we're having. We have to have our folks being responsible and put the garbage in the cans. So, so that's what we're faced with right now. We're trying to, you know, encourage that responsibility and trying to phase in that type of activity so that everybody gets their garbage secured. That also applies to dumpsters, and we have put hardware on the dumpsters around base. There are quite a few that still don't have hardware on them. I know just a couple weeks ago, I got a call on a Saturday afternoon, where there was a bear in the dumpster. And anybody in the room that was active on that call that afternoon? No? The bear actually got in the dumpster from the top. The plastic lids on top were open. Probably the wind blew them open. But the side doors were locked. And I believe all that had to happen in that case was the door had to be open, the bear jumped out, and it was gone. So we have put in a work request for all the dumpsters on base to be you know, secured with some hardware. We're still looking at some other options with fixing those lids, maybe weighting them down a certain way. But, you know, the point of the matter is we're trying to be proactive and securing as many food sources on base that we have. So that's kind of the background on, you know, why these bears are here. They've been doing this for a long time. It didn't happen overnight. So this afternoon, you know, we just want to kind of refresh your memories on being bear aware, what you do when you're called out to the neighborhood, to someone who's seen a bear, it's in my garbage, it's in my backyard. We want you to know what to do in that situation. Bear awareness brochures have been disseminated. We'll get you some more here for the squadron. Read the information. That's your best line of defense, is being educated and knowing how to respond if you walk around the corner of a building and there's a bear there. Or if there's a bear in a yard, you drive up, there's a bear in a garbage. What do I do? You know, because hesitation is going to be your worst enemy, and you knowing what to do, those of you who are certified through our hazing and aversive conditioning classes will know exactly what to do using that paintball gun at the right time. That's going to be the most effective solution. Okay, I think we've covered that. If you see the bear at a distance making loud noises, I think we've all used lights and sirens. We found that to be somewhat ineffective. These bears are used to that kind of response from us. They're used to people yelling at them. They're used to people running at them. They will run away. They most likely will not charge, and if they do charge, it is a common behavior that they will do what they call a bluff charge. We've seen videos, I've witnessed it, where they will clack their jaws. If they are irritated, they will huff and puff, and they will bluff charge, and they will stop and turn and go away. Bears in a tree will not come down. So we'll talk a little bit more about how to handle those situations in a moment. Use aversive conditioning techniques if you're certified. One more thing on this last slide. If you are very close to a bear, and say within 10 feet, and that bear is right there at you, you don't want to run or curl into a ball, because these are not brown bears or grizzlies that, you know, are going to attack you. And these bears do eat things that are dead, like garbage. So if you curl into a ball, they're going to think you're dead, and then they may eat you. So we want you to be big, and we want you to use the human dominance factor and be big like the bear and scare them, and they will back down. All right, aversive conditioning. We do these classes once a year. If you haven't been trained, please let your supervisors know that we will have the class again this year. We'll get you on the list, get you trained so that you're out and about in the evenings. You are certified, because your name does have to be on a permit authorized by the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and we can have you authorized to use the paintball gun and aversive conditioning techniques. Anytime that we do use these techniques, we have to submit paperwork to the state. Other non-lethal hazing tactics, and I differentiate between hazing and aversive conditioning, hazing being air horns, lights and sirens, and human confrontation in this presentation. Guidelines for aversive conditioning, we have sent those to the senior, and he has that information. He can disseminate that to you. I recommend that, put that in the glove compartment in the car, keep it handy, know when to use it, when not to use it. Times that you do not use it is if the bear could run towards people or into a busy roadway. We don't want these bears run over by a car, and we don't want them cornered in a situation where a lot of people are out by their house screaming and yelling and they don't have an escape route. If there is a cub, you don't want to use an aversive conditioning technique or try to shoot the cub. The mother is always near, I guarantee that. Foraging on natural food sources. This past year in December, we removed 6 bears from the Live Oak subdivision that were foraging on natural nuts out of the trees. In this situation, that was the decision made by Fish and Wildlife only because they were wreaking such havoc in the neighborhood, not because they were really doing anything wrong. People were afraid, and it was ultimately decided that we needed to try to relocate these bears. But it is not something that we do a lot. If the bears are in the woods or in natural habitats, up a tree, or inside a dumpster, you would never want to try to shoot them or try to use aversive conditioning techniques when they're in those situations. And if you do shoot them, obviously you want to target the shoulder or the rump in those situations. These are all things that are gone into detail during the class, and it's taught by our bear management coordinator, Dave Telesco, with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Management efforts that we take on base. Being that you know, this has been going on for a long time, I think I've already mentioned that we have the new garbage cans in place. We do have another 50 on order. We do have a few spots in housing, Commando Village, that I think we were short a few cans. We're bear-proofing the dumpsters. We do education and training consistently. Obviously, with the turnover on base, it's an ongoing process. This video will be done today. It will be placed on our eDash page. It will be disseminated. A version of this that's more kind of tailored to our residents and other personnel on base will be placed on our Hurlburt Field Bear Country Facebook page. That is active. We have residents posting on there all the time, so that will be uploaded to the Facebook page. And as a natural resource manager, I'm consistently working with the state to talk about issues that we have throughout the region, report our numbers so they know exactly how many bear calls we have, what types of behaviors and repetitive occurrences that we have. It's very important that the notifications I receive from dispatch, get to me so that we know, when there's a problem, when we have a nuisance bear that really does need, closer attention. And it's only with that communication and your help that we really know, before it's way too late, that there's an occurrence that we need to intervene. So at this point, I think I'll close. Is there any questions from you? Any time that you've been in the field that you've seen a bear and really didn't know what to do? I'll kind of open it up to the floor for a minute. And if not, then I have a question for you. No? Okay. So if you're driving around at night, you get a call, and there's a bear, say, at the front door of a house, and there are people standing outside yelling, there's a bear, there's a bear, there's a bear, and you drive up. Can anybody tell me at that point what you might do? I'm sorry? Disperse the crowd, ask them to go back to their car, right, and make sure that the folks are in their house and safe. That's true. That is the first thing that we do. Now, what would you do with the bear? Saying at this point the bear is still hanging around. There's one bear, and we'll assume at this point that it's a male and there's not a mother and cubs. He's not in garbage, he's just kind of there. I think in this situation, he's not really doing anything wrong. He's kind of, hanging out. This could be a potential use for aversive conditioning, but since there were so many people around, you're right, that would not be a good time. So yes, you're right. There are some other instances I know we've had with cubs up a tree or a bear up a tree. Again, crowd control, very important. And just do drive-bys occasionally and just check on things and just make sure that the folks are away from the tree. The bears will come down on their own. Okay? Thank you for coming this afternoon. I really appreciate it. The dispatch folks have my number, and we do work with Fish and Wildlife closely. They know how to reach them. Also, pest management also is very close to respond on the weekends. So please keep in touch. If you ever have any questions, please email me. Also, I'm on the Global. Thank you.